Good morning, everybody. I was going to make part 2 of our how to drive manual transmission tutorial today, although I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I waited because there were some questions brought up in part 1 that I want to address to cover a bit more about the basics before we get to part 2. First things first, this video is brought to you by drivinggear.com. If you want a pair of driving shoes, I'm not saying you need driving shoes to drive a manual gearbox. You certainly don't. Sneakers, barefoot, all fine. But if you want a pair of driving shoes like these lovely Pelote Prototipos that I'm wearing right now, drivinggear.com is the exclusive distributor of Pelote shoes. And if you use the code TSTFAN at checkout, I will give you 10% off your order of Pelote driving shoes. Again, you don't need them, but if you decide you want a pair, if you're looking at them, hey, use code TSTFAN, get yourself a pair. Okay, first things first. Many of you in my demo of getting the car going without the clutch identified that I was cheating, that the Focus RS automatically doesn't rev match, that it automatically applies a little bit of throttle when you start to lift off the clutch. Some of you said that in less powerful cars or less modern cars, that your car wouldn't do it. And so I'm in a 2014 Mazda 2 right now. This is a car with 100 horsepower. And I'm going to demonstrate that you can do this in a car with 100 horsepower. And to do that, I'm on just a big little, I don't know, skid paddy thing here up on the Angeles Forest. And I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to find myself some flat land. And I'm going to demonstrate getting the car going with no throttle at all. Okay, the key is to finding the friction zone and then staying in that friction zone. Okay, so this can be done. Oh, I'm rolling backwards a little bit. I do need to be flat. So there. Okay, so without any throttle at all, 100 horsepower. Here we go. See that? Moving. No throttle at all. Moving, 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 moving. See that? No throttle at all. I'm going to do it again. Clutch in, stop, and here we go. Moving. Now, if your car doesn't do the rev matching thing, if you don't have a lot of horsepower, you can still do this. I can do it with 100 horsepower, right? It's just a matter of going slower. If your car stalls when you do this, you're probably, either you have a carbureted car or you're just not doing it slow enough. Even look, I'm a little uphill right now and I can still do it. Right there. See that? Okay, so that can be done. If it's not working for you, go slower. Go a lot slower. All right, that's step 1 in the filler move. Step 2, people asked about reversing. Like I said in the video, the process of putting the car in gear and then letting out the clutch, applying a little bit of throttle, is the same whether you're going into forward or reverse. The difference is, with reverse, you really don't ever fully engage the gear. You're always going to ride the clutch just a little bit, just enough to get the car moving. If you're in a Michael Bay style car chase and you're getting away down an alley in reverse, then you will engage reverse all the way. But other than that, you're pretty much just going to ride it. So I'm going to go into reverse, which is down right on this 5-speed gearbox, and I will show you how you, so just a little bit, and then just ride. You just ride it, and then you go back into neutral, or back into clutch in, right? Just to back it up, you're gonna back it up, just a little bit of revs, and then you ride the clutch a little bit. That's it. You never really fully engage reverse, but just by riding the clutch a little bit, see, I'm actually gonna, see, that's full reverse. But for backing out of most parking spaces, it's just a little bit. And you can ride the clutch and that's okay. The next thing is hill starts, okay? I'm gonna go over on this hill and I'm gonna show you how to start on a hill. And I'll find a steep hill for it. But in the meantime, I wanna talk about rev matching. On your downshifts, there is a rather large contingent of you who were very adamant about the fact that you don't have to rev match your downshifts. Technically, that is true. Technically, you can put the car in a lower gear, like I'll go into 3rd right now. Technically, I could put the car into a lower gear and let the clutch out. But what happens is you get a buck, okay? Your passengers won't like you very much. And you can unsettle the car, not at 26 miles an hour, but if you do that at higher speed. The point is, if I'm going to teach you to drive stick, I'm going to teach you to drive stick one way that will serve you for any car you're driving in any situation you're driving. And if I was going to teach you to cook a chicken, I could teach you to cook a chicken in the microwave. But that's not what you want to know. You want to know how to roast a beautiful chicken with seasonings and all of that kind of stuff. And that's what I want to teach you. That's rev matching on your downshifts, right? So if I go to third, when I do a downshift, I do the blip. I bring up those revs. It gives me a smoother shift. It doesn't unsettle the car. Because remember, if you go, like, let's go to third. If I go to second here, that jerking, that's the front wheels only. They're only doing the braking for me. That isn't as settled as braking with all four wheels and then rev matching the engine. It also causes more wear on your clutch. Some will argue that you save fuel by not rev matching. I will argue that any offset savings in fuel will translate into extra wear on your driveline. That's my opinion. Feel free to do it in your own car, how any way you want. If you don't want to rev match, that's fine. But I'm going to teach you the way I do it because it works well for me in any situation. Okay, now we are on a hill. Here we are. Let me find a steeper section of hill, as a matter of fact. Just cruising around in second gear. Some people also were saying that they upshift at like 2,500 RPM. Unless you're in a diesel or a car with a lot of torque, you should really run your engine a little more than that, because it's called lugging the engine when you use too much throttle at not enough RPM. It's not good for your engine. Use your revs. So I'll demonstrate. We're on a hill. It's not super steep, but I am rolling backwards, okay? The best way to learn how to start up a hill, the procedure is the same. The key to going uphill is to get to your friction zone quickly and then hold it there a little longer than normal before you release all the clutch. By getting to that friction, oh, there's cars. Sorry. When you're on a hill, what you want to do, there's 3 points of clutch. All the way in the friction zone where it's riding and it's moving the car, but it's still rubbing, and then all the way off where it's locked together, okay? What you want to do is get to your friction zone quickly, and then you want to hold it there for a little longer. In the beginning, the handbrake can be your friend, right? The handbrake, by holding it up and keeping that button pressed in, mind you, you don't want to find out that handbrake is locked with the button, and now so you hold the button in, and that can act as your brake pedal, right? And then in the meantime, you can give it a few revs. How about I put it in gear? You give it a few revs, and then start to let the clutch out, and when you feel the clutch starting to want to move the car, then you can release the handbrake, right? That is very, very easy, right? So do it again. Holding the handbrake, car is held on the handbrake, my foot's off the brake, few little revs here, see, now I can feel the car wants to move, and now I release. So that's an easy way to get started, okay? Next move is, you really just want to get to that friction zone quickly. So this time, no handbrake, I'm rolling backwards. Oh, light turns green. See that? Right to that friction zone. I want to get there quickly. And then I'll ride the clutch a little longer than normal in order to get it going. But what I recommend is, in the beginning, use the handbrake method if you can. That's a good method, and it'll keep you from rolling into the cars behind you. And then, as soon as you feel comfortable getting to that friction zone quickly, that's when you want to stop using the handbrake. You don't want to use the handbrake forever. The handbrake is a crutch. It's a training wheel while you're learning. Here's a steep section. Okay, so this is pretty steep. No cars behind me. I want to get to the friction zone quickly. Rolling backwards, rolling backwards. Right here is the friction zone, and then slowly ride it out. You want to get to the friction zone quickly. You don't want to get completely off the clutch quickly. All right, now, lastly, on the way back down the hill, we're going to go down the hill in this Mazda 2, and I'm going to demonstrate engine braking versus clutch braking, okay? So I'm going to put this car in second gear, and now I'm going to coast, feet off, in gear, right? I'm in second gear, 3,500 RPM, coasting downhill. This is engine braking. The engine is slowing the car down by being in gear. And in a modern car, when you're going downhill in gear, there's no fuel going into the engine, especially with a direct injection car, right? So you can engine brake like this going down a hill, right? And this is a very effective technique for slowing your car down, especially coming down off of mountains, off of these very long descents where you don't want to ride your brakes because they'll get very hot. So engine braking is a good thing to do. That is different from clutch braking. Here's clutch braking. Clutch braking was right there. That was when I actually slowed the car down using the friction of the clutch. And that's what some of these people in the comments are arguing is the way to do it. But if I do it my way, the right way, with a heel toe, now I've matched my revs without wearing the clutch, and I've given a smooth ride, and I'm still engine braking. I'm just not clutch braking. And so some people may tell you different, and that's fine. You could certainly do whatever you want in your own car. But if I'm going to tell you how to drive, I'm going to tell you how to drive my way, and I'm going to give you the basics that will help you when you get to more complicated things like heel toe. And we're not going to do heel toe in this video. I'm going to do a separate heel toe video, but just while we go back here, I'm going to show you what heel toe looks like. Heel toe, I'm using my right foot to cover the gas and the brake. So I'm braking with the left side of my foot and blipping revs with the right side of my foot. You can use your actual toe and your actual heel if you want, but I have these big bread loaf feet, and so for me, it's actually easier to use the left side of my foot and the right side of my foot, and the point is, they act independently. So I can brake gently with the ball of my foot, I can brake hard with the ball of my foot. Either way, the right side of my foot is capable of independently blipping the throttle no matter how hard I'm braking. Gentle braking, blip, okay? Light braking, blip. By blipping the throttle, you are saving your drive line from excess wear and tear. You are saving your passengers from a jerky, bucky ride, and it will help you. It will help you. Like, some people go, oh, you could heel toe, but only on the track or only in the canyons. If you want to learn two different ways to drive, by all means, go out. I want to teach you one way to drive, just one way. So I drive heel toe all the time. That for me, that's driving in the city, in the canyons, on the track. I'm always heel toeing. My right foot is always using the right two pedals. I don't ever clutch brake, ever. That's how I do it. So if you're here watching me do it, that's how I do it. Thank you for watching. Of course, if you want to grab some of these Pelote shoes at drivinggear.com, use code TSTFan. And I will see you in our next video when I really do go over the basics as well as some of the advanced of how to properly heel toe a car. Thanks.